What if I told you that renouncing your citizenship could cost you millions of dollars, even if you never sell a single asset? What if leaving your home country meant paying taxes on money you've never actually made? Welcome to the dystopian reality of exit taxes, the modern world's answer to medieval serfdom. I'm going to expose one of the most insidious forms of government control that's spreading across the globe like a virus. Exit taxes represent nothing less than state ownership of human beings. And if you're successful, entrepreneurial, or simply value your freedom, you need to understand this threat. Let's start with the United States, which has perfected this system of economic imprisonment. Under Section 877A of the tax code, if you're what they call a covered expatriate, meaning you have a net worth over $2.25 million, or average annual tax liability above $215,000, the government will hit you with something called a deemed disposition when you renounce citizenship. Here's how this works in practice. The IRS pretends you sold every single asset you own the day before you renounce citizenship. They calculate capital gains taxes on unrealized gains, money you haven't actually made, and demand immediate payment. This isn't taxation, it's extortion. They're literally taxing you on theoretical transactions that never happened. But America isn't alone in this madness. Canada has its departure tax that works similarly. Australia implements what they call deemed disposal rules. Even Norway, that supposed bastion of Nordic reasonableness, imposes an emigration tax on unrealized capital gains exceeding about $45,000. Norway's system is particularly revealing because it exposes the lie behind the Nordic model. They offer a 5-year escape clause where they'll refund the tax if you don't actually realize the gains. But here's the catch. You have to maintain detailed records, file ongoing reports, and essentially remain under Norwegian tax surveillance for 5 years after you leave. It's not a reasonable accommodation, it's a bureaucratic leash. The Netherlands is now proposing something even more audacious, a 5-year reach that would continue taxing former residents long after they've escaped Dutch jurisdiction. Spain's wealth tax has already triggered an exodus of millionaires, yet instead of recognizing this as a market signal that their policies are destructive, they're doubling down. From an economic perspective, exit taxes are devastating. They create what economists call lock-in effects, trapping capital and talent in suboptimal locations. When governments impose exit taxes, they're essentially admitting their policies are so wealth-destroying that people would flee if given the chance. Rather than reform, they choose to trap their victims. Think about the Norwegian entrepreneur who builds a successful tech company. Exit taxes don't just prevent this person from leaving, they discourage the very risk-taking and innovation that created the wealth in the first place. Why build a business if success only makes you a target for state confiscation? But the economic arguments pale beside the moral outrage these taxes represent. At its core, the exit tax asserts that the state owns you and your property. If you cannot freely choose where to live without paying tribute to your former rulers, you are not free, you are a serf. The complexity of these systems serves a dual purpose, maximizing the state's take while ensuring only the wealthiest can afford to escape. The middle class remains trapped by the sheer cost and complexity of the exit process. Even Norway's supposedly simple system requires professional valuations, complex calculations, and ongoing monitoring. What's most disturbing is the growing international coordination. The U.S. has pioneered forcing foreign banks to report on American citizens. Other countries are following suit, creating a global surveillance network. Norway's system demonstrates this perfectly. Their tax deferral only applies if you move to another high-tax European jurisdiction that will cooperate with Norwegian authorities. We're witnessing a fundamental shift from competing jurisdictions to coordinated extraction. Governments are working together to eliminate tax competition and maximize their collective take from productive citizens. The technology revolution offers some hope. Cryptocurrency, remote work, and digital nomadism are creating new forms of economic activity that transcend borders. But states are responding by extending their exit tax regimes to cover digital assets and remote work arrangements. Here's what you need to understand. Every country implementing exit taxes is admitting their system cannot survive genuine competition. If the Nordic model truly represented a voluntary exchange of taxes for services, why would anyone need to be prevented from leaving? The solution isn't better exit tax policies, it's complete abolition. No government should have the power to hold citizens hostage, demanding ransom payments for the basic human right to seek a better life elsewhere. But while we fight for systemic change, you need to protect yourself and your family. The walls of this global prison are getting higher every day. Every new framework makes escape more difficult and freedom more distant. The productive classes must recognize they're under assault. Governments view successful people not as citizens to be served, but as assets to be exploited. The exit tax isn't a policy tool. It's a weapon of economic warfare against the very people who create wealth. Time is running short. The choice between freedom and serfdom is ours to make, but the window is closing. The human desire for freedom is stronger than any exit tax, but only if we have the courage to act on it. If you want to reduce your taxes to single digits, make your assets impossible for anyone to touch, and gain more freedom with second citizenships, get in touch with Liberty Mundo and book a consultation call. We will help you develop a complete blueprint to organize your life to safeguard your wealth and your freedom. Follow the link in the description for more details. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.